So Easter holidays mean my poor niece and nephew have to put up with a bit of Auntie Anna time. But this is Jess, my niece, who has agreed to come and have a chat with us at Hey Mummy. You have had a lot of problems with your hearing, haven't you, since a young age? Do you want to tell us your sort of history with hearing?
So I wasn't born with deafness, but about 4 years old I started getting problems with hearing in the way that when I was swimming I kept on getting infections, and these infections lasted 6 years. So when I finally stopped getting the infections, I was diagnosed with deafness. It was only hard of hearing, but as the years wore away it got worse, and I was at 10 years old I was given hearing aids, which I still have now, but this deafness hasn't held me back.
But you've had some really good support, haven't you, from at school. They've made great effort, haven't they? You get to sit at the front of class, which for some people would be awful because you would want to mess about the back of class. But for you, you see it as a bonus, don't you, that you can sit at front.
Absolutely.
And I mean, when Jess says it hasn't held her back, it really hasn't. She is a shining example of somebody who will not be held back by special needs of any sort, and your need for hearing aids and help with your hearing has just not made any difference at all. If anything, it's made you fight and get everything you want, like 57 swimming medals. What else have you got? 4 trophies.
Yes.
Certificate after certificate. Every time I speak to this girl, there's another certificate or medal to hear about. And it has. You are a real fighter, aren't you? You're determined that your issues with hearing are not going to hold you back at all. Yeah. And you've just gone from strength to strength, haven't you? And you're now swimming with the British Deaf Swimming Club, aren't you?
Yeah.
And how does that make you feel that you because you could have just been upset about it and felt hard done by, couldn't you?
It's made me feel more dedicated to swimming, which is a sport that I really, really enjoy. And also it's given me a kind of courage to carry on going with life, actually, because of all the support that I've got over the years, from my parents, from my teachers, from my coaches at swimming. Yeah.
From your auntie. No, you really have. You've done so well, and I feel incredibly proud of you, as do the rest of the family. But so going back to talking about, living with deafness, you lip read a lot, don't you? So
yes.
You will watch people talking.
A lot of people would rather not tell people at all that they've got any needs, that they haven't got anything wrong with themselves, that they'd rather keep it from people. It kind of helps them believe that they don't have it because they don't like it. But people just need to not assume that everything about them isn't normal.
Yeah. And the technology now, show us what because you've got your hearing aids and devices here, haven't you? And in school they've been using, doesn't the teacher wear a microphone which links to your...
Yeah, it's just a microphone that you clip on at least 30 centimetres, within a 30 metres radius from your mouth.
So this is what your teacher would wear, is it?
Yeah, you just clip it on, and it means that all of the background, the classroom noise, goes stiller, and you can hear the teacher directly, rather than just having all that background noise, meaning that you can't really hear yourself.
I see, so it just gets rid of that. And do you find that there are certain situations that are a lot more difficult for you? Like if you go into a busy restaurant, for instance, there's all that kind of background sound then, isn't there? Is that the kind of thing that you would struggle with?
Yeah, especially when there's background music playing, and or like a radio, you feel that it's harder to concentrate on the person right in front of you, because you've got all that noise going on. and it's harder to hear in the first place anyway, so...
Yeah. So if you had to give a bit of advice maybe to people who are watching your video and just thinking, gosh, I'd never even thought about this, and thought that, you know, I might be speaking to somebody who's hard of hearing, what would your advice be?
Never assume immediately that someone has normal bodily functions. If you think that they've got some needs and they're obviously not going to tell you, then kind of encourage them to say to say it to you, rather than just going full out with guns blowing, saying, have you got this? Because they'll just crouch away back in their shell and it'll discourage them. So it's rather better to say, better to kind of encourage them than go out immediately if you just assume.
Because you're actually quite, you're a strong little person, aren't you? And you don't want to be treated differently to the person sat next to you in the classroom. You don't want to be treated differently to another child your age. And I think you're actually quite a shining example of someone who doesn't want to, you don't want to be pandered to. And you know, your sporting achievements are a great example of that, and your determination, but also it's very important to you that you don't miss out.
But to a person that might not have normal hearing, normal sight, it would just be better to embrace the support that you get, because I know that in Year 5 I was on an action plan at school because I didn't quite understand what was going on, but now I'm in Year 7, I'm in a grammar school, and I'm progressing harder and harder. I really love history, I've got all these sporting achievements, but it's all because I welcome that support. So to a disabled person, that's definitely something you should encourage.
Yeah, what a lovely message. And I think also as parents, you know, my sister Linda has, you know, she went back and back and back until she found out what the problem was, and, you know, got you to see the right specialist to get the right things done about your hearing. And I think, once again, how many times can we say the same thing? Trust your mother's instinct and know when something's not quite right. It's so easy to label kids as not focusing properly. You know, how many times do you see it in a kid's report, school report? They're not focusing, they're behaving badly, they're not achieving. You know, those things might be absolutely nothing to do with behaviour or focus. They could well be to do with something like not hearing properly, so not being able to focus properly on the teacher, therefore falling behind with your work, and actually struggling with it. So be aware with your kids that, you know, it's not always, everything's not always as it seems, and there could be a problem there that needs addressing. So trust your instincts, I think, because that's what Mummy did with you, didn't she? And she took you back, and finally now, like you said, now you can embrace the support that's out there. And Jess has had fantastic support in and out of school so that you can achieve the things that you have. So make sure that you get the right diagnosis for things, so that you can just succeed in life, like Jess.